Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. God bless you. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. The former TLC star is currently renovating her new home with husband Stephen Wisman. Jana Duggar is digging right into the renovations for her new home, but she couldn't do it without some help from her family. In her latest update on the fixer-upper she purchased with husband Stephen Wisman, the former TLC star gave fans a peek at the progress so far, while also making some hearts melt with the sweet cameos from her family members. As seen in the new vlog, posted to her YouTube channel this week, Jana, 34, was assisted by her dad, Jim Bob Duggar, and brother James, while picking up cabinets in her home state of Arkansas and bringing them to the new property in Nebraska. But their journey was not without its fair share of bumps in the road, as they had to stop partway through the trip to switch trucks. After that, they ran into more trouble with the trailer, which was fishtailing due to the weight. Jana and James, 23, then moved some of the items from the trailer into the back of their truck and eventually made their way to Nebraska. Once there, Jana showed footage of her family working on more projects at the house, including some work on the back door. Special thanks to these guys. Y'all are awesome. Jana wrote at the end of the clip, along with photos of her loved ones helping out. Fans in the comments on YouTube were touched by the family's support of one another, with one person noting, "I always see your dad, brothers, sister and mom willing to help you and your siblings whenever needed. It's so nice to see family like that." Jana is the eldest daughter of former 19 Kids and Counting stars Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, who rose to fame on the TLC reality series with their larger-than-life family. Many of their kids have now grown up and started their own families, with Jana being the most recent Duggar daughter to get married in an intimate ceremony just last month. Now, she and her new hubby are embarking on the next chapter in their life, but not without the rest of the family by their side to assist them. Your family is always there to help, one person pointed out on YouTube, while another added, "Those brothers take care of their big sis so well." "So sweet and kind," someone else chimed in. "Few of us will ever understand what it's actually like to grow up in a home with 18 siblings, but former Counting On star Jinger Duggar has been sharing more and more about her unusual childhood now that she and husband Jeremy Vuolo are recording their podcast again. On this week's episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast, Jinger opened up about her first year of marriage to Jeremy and the major identity crisis that came with it as she lived away from home and her family for the first time in her life. Jinger and Jeremy were looking back on the early days of their marriage. The couple was looking back on what their first year of marriage was like, and Jinger admitted that she believed that year was the hardest they've had so far because of the huge change she made in her life. After living in a house with all of her siblings and parents, and never going anywhere alone, leaving Arkansas for Texas and living with just her husband came as a bit of a shock to her. New fears popped up in Jinger's life without her comfort zone. "I realized in that time that I was afraid to go to coffee with a friend," she said. "I was petrified in fear of having to do things by myself because I had a security blanket of having people around me all the time, whether that was siblings or even a close friend." This is what led to what Jinger calls an identity crisis. She explained that without being known for her place in the Duggar family puzzle, she was faced with the task of figuring out who I was as a person. "I had the identity crisis of, okay, I know who I was in my family, but who am I as an individual now?" she said. She added that this time was also when she began to question her religious beliefs after growing up in the Institute in Basic Life Principles, the fundamentalist Christian sect that the Duggar family is part of. "I was realizing that some of these things that I thought I really held dear, like the teachings of Bill Gothard, I'm realizing I'm not believing that anymore. And that was a huge shift," she said. Everything else in their marriage was smooth sailing that year. Jeremy said that at first, he saw that year as a breeze. But after seeing it from Jinger's perspective, he realized that she did go through a lot of tough changes during that year. "We got along super well. I would say there were challenges just from me adjusting. It was more like adjustment challenges, Jinger agreed. Jinger has really seemed to come into her own these days. 8 years, and 2 kids. Later, she and Jeremy seem to be as happy together as they've ever been. And Jinger really seems to have figured out who she is, even if it's different from who she might have imagined she'd be as an adult. Good for her for being brave enough to find out. Keep an eye on TV season and spoilers for more Duggar news updates.